In this episode of Big Talk, we sit down with Fred Estrada, an Olympics coach. He shares with us what it takes to train like an Olympian and go for gold.
Right here. 6 back. Good. 10. After I hit 10, alternating. Here, go all the way around. Once I've gone all the way around, then I'm coming in here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in 6. I'm gonna alternate.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Big Talk, where we skip small talk and talk big ideas, big goals, and big vision. I'm blessed today to sit down with my man right here, Fred Estrada. He's trained champions, Olympians. He's a former Taekwondo instructor. Amazing story, and we're very, very blessed to sit down here and be honored with his presence. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the invitation.
You've accomplished quite a bit in your career, and you've trained champions, you trained Olympians, and interviewing you earlier, we were talking off camera. I'm gonna ask you, like, what was the first thing that you trained? And you mentioned mindset. Why is that so important?
Well, in the age that I am now, I think I've learned that physical is not always the greatest attribute to any athlete. I think it's the mindset, because the mindset is what sets you apart from everybody else. If you don't have a strong mind, you ain't gonna win anything. If you don't have a strong mindset, you ain't gonna train for anything. If you don't have a strong mindset, you're gonna give up easily. So the mind is the strongest part of your body, I believe, and when you can train that, you can do anything.
We'll do 3 rounds.
The only reason I even wanted to start training was because I saw Ninja Turtles, and that was one, and I watched The Karate Kid. Those were the things that motivated me to always do martial arts. I was talking to my mom. I bugged her for many years, and she was like, "Nope, you ain't gonna do it. Nope, you ain't gonna do it." And then one day she was just like, "All right, let's sign you up." And from that day on, they signed me up here in Sacramento. I first started in the middle school, and the middle school was doing their training. And then one day I showed up, and they were not there anymore. So I was just like, "Okay, what do I do? What happened?" And we looked in the phone book. First person that I called was, the Robinson's Taekwondo, where I originally learned all my training. And from that day on, he picked up the phone, "Come on in," and it's been history since. Since then, I've gotten to compete, competed internationally, won medals internationally, nationally, state champion numerous times, won senior nationals for AAU, fell short of the U.S. team. I was on national B team 3 years in a row. Unfortunately, I couldn't get past the final. But there's many things that hindered me from accomplishing that goal. My goal was to strive to make the U.S. Olympic team, and in 2000 I had the opportunity to be able to go out, to have the opportunity to be able to try out for the national team, and fell a little short. And then again back in 2014, not 2014, but 2004. But in 2001, I hadn't gotten in a car accident, and that slowed me down big time. I almost lost my life. And,
my gosh, a car accident.
Yeah, a car accident. And I lost one of my best friends, and that hindered me a lot. But it didn't affect me physically. It affected me mentally.
Right hand. Good. Left hook. It's like a check hook. Right when I come in. Good. Good. Right hand.
So as I got older in 2000, I'm going to say 2002, 2003, I said, you know what, I'm going to form my own team and I'm going to come up with ideas, things that I wasn't able to accomplish or things that I didn't get as an athlete. I'm going to provide for my athletes. And from that moment on, man, we skyrocketed, and I started them from the ground up, literally from white belt all the way to the black belt. And, you know, every single one of my students that made a national team started me from when they were young, from when they were a child, and that's the biggest accomplishment, to say that you can form an athlete from the ground up, and as long as they stuck it out, they always made a national team or won an accomplishment winning internationally. You know, I was able to give me an opportunity to be able to coach the U.S. junior national team, and then I also coached the senior and junior AAU national team for 3 years. That was a blessing. I was an assistant coach. I got to coach a couple of Olympians, and it was a privilege. You know, it took a lot of hard work. A lot of people, you know, think that you just show up and one day you're just, you know, everybody look at me, but they don't realize the hard work that was put behind the scenes and the effort that you made to be able to get there. You know, about 3 years ago, you know, I wanted to pursue doing something on my own, and it got to a point where I felt people didn't appreciate everything that I was doing as a coach, and I just had to step away. And, you know, there was a lot of things that, you know, were said that definitely hurt, and that's what pushed me away. But, you know, here we are, you know, and you know, I'm striving for new goals and, you know, new accomplishments. That's for sure. You know, and even not teaching for 3 years, you know, yeah, I teach private lessons and stuff like that, but, you know, you learn to acquire new tastes, new avenues on how to teach. You know, even for my own son, I find myself like, you know, man, I've been teaching for a long time, and it's tough to teach my son.
Really?
Because he doesn't listen to me. He's, you know,
and how old is your son?
He's 5.
He's 5 years old.
He's 5 years old.
Okay, so he's training with you.
He trains with me. I train him 2 to 3 times a week.
Wow.
Sometimes I only train him once a week, depending on what his schedule is like. But he picks it up so fast. But at the same time, it's difficult because he's my son.
Right.
My expectation is a lot higher. So things that would normally be very, how would I say, things that would be difficult he can pick up, but at the same time it's difficult for me because I expect you to be best.
Absolutely.
I expect you to do this. And sometimes I have to rewind and say, you know what, let me rewind this. Let me show you how to do this first. You know, and it's tough because, you know, your mindset is, I coach good, strong athletes.
Right.
I create good, strong athletes. So I have to go back and say, okay, let me just start from the ground up.
So it sounds to me like, you know, you're in this phase of fatherhood, and you're doing a little bit of, I guess, what I say, self-reflection. And
just kind of, you could say almost like picking out the weeds, man. You know, just saying, okay, what am I going to do different? How can I create my son to be better than me? How can I create his mindset to be better than mine? You know, I also have a daughter. You know, she's 1. You know, what's it going to be like to have a daughter? You know, what's it going to be like? How am I going to treat her? You know, I try to treat them the same. You know, and then also, you know, take care of my family, take care of my wife, take care, you know, of my house duties. You know, the best ways to stay positive is, number 1 is never think anything less. Everything that is a negative, how can I turn that into a positive? How can I not let that affect what I'm doing on a daily basis? Everything happens for a reason. You know, my son got sick not too long ago. I want to say probably about 2 months ago. He was in the hospital. He had a kidney infection. I could have let that tear me apart, or I could have said, you know, God, you take control. You show me what I need to do, and how can I create this to make me a better person? And, you know, in the times that we are going through today, you know, even through viruses, like, we take a look at ourselves and we say, man, I'm not motivated anymore. I haven't worked in 3 weeks. Well, guess what? I'm gonna still stay motivated. I'm still gonna keep training. I'm still gonna look for what can I do? What am I gonna do now to make myself better when we get back? What are we gonna change? You know, and that's how you change. That's how you keep yourself from falling backwards. You always take a look a step ahead. Why did this happen, and what am I going to do to change it?
That's amazing.
So, definitely.
Everything
appreciate your time
for a reason. And thank you again for your time, sir. Appreciate it, Fred. You guys, again, stay blessed. Stay intelligent, stay gifted. Keep doing it. B-I-G. It's your boy, Size.